You want to know what currently the best defensive support, so healers with alacrity or quickness, are. Today, we're gonna answer this question in form of a tier list. I did this video on my stream with my chat. Be sure to join us in future streams when we do other discussion and tier lists. But now, enjoy. This is not about DPS. So now, what do I value here? I value the healing output. How good can you keep your group alive? That does not only mean the healing, but it also means the area or the just denial of damage using blocks, whatever. The second thing I want to talk about in this tier list is how easy to play is it. Because some builds are quite hard and struggle with boon uptime, struggle with the healing uptime. So is it easy to do this? And the other thing is also, what can you do? So have you some utility skills that make this build really good? For example, Glyph or some Reses might be really good in some kits because not all classes have access to this. So if someone goes down and you have a ranged revive, that can carry the group. So boon heal, that's the funny thing. Not a lot of classes actually can do that. We can put a lot of classes in no tier because they can't do it. Because they have to give a boon. You can't play a healer without a boon. Just because that's not how Guild Wars works. So you would never use a healer that doesn't provide any boon, like quickness or alacrity, because you would just lose another spot. You would have to bring another support that does this. So all the classes that can't do it, like the core classes, or at least can't permanently do it, will go into no. That's easy. Let me quickly check. One is missing. And we have also, that's the good thing, a lot of other classes like Soul Beast, like Holosmith, like Daredevil, like Reaper, like Spellbreaker, like Vindicator, like Weaver. You see a lot of other classes like Virtuoso can't even bring a boon. Let's start with some really easy ones. Druid is S tier. Just because about all what I said, the healing that the Druid can provide is crazy. It might be one of the best, if not the best healer. It has really easy boon access. You can even run, if you're good, you can just one healed elect Druid and as the only elect provider in the whole group. Just because you can dash out so much alacrity that you're 10-man alacrity provider. That's insane. No other class can do that. At least not that easily. Yeah, Druid is definitely, it's really good. It has so much utility also back in the kit, knockback, stability, revives even. It's really good. It's just insane. If we stay with Ranger, we have Untamed. And there is actually a healing Untamed. If you don't believe me, check out Emmy's channel. She has a build guide about the staff healing Untamed. It's not a meme build. You can play it. But I would say it's just a worse version of Druid. And it doesn't have stability. So that brings it for me into B or C tier. Just because it is the healing is there, but everything else is missing a little bit. So I would say it's a B tier build. Maybe I have to adjust it later, but for me it's just not there for the most part. Yeah. Because it's just not, you can't really carry the group if you don't have stability. Mechanist. So healing Mechanist was once upon a time, when EOD came out, the best tier. It was the GOAT. It was the best build that was ever created for support. But they nerfed it, and even back in the day, I don't really like the gameplay of having an AI running around that you have to control to some extent, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and therefore I would put it in A tier. It's a build that is useful now, but it's definitely not that good anymore. They nerfed it, the boon uptime is not that crazy anymore, and it's still very good, don't get me wrong, but I think a Druid is better. A Druid is just better, because the utility you have is just better. It has good, you can even use it as a ranged healer to some extent. You will get punished in some regard, but it does its job. That's why I like it. And then we have Healing Scrapper. I think Healing Scrapper is B tier. I think it's like Untamed. It's a niche build that you can make work, but it's not like you have to run it because it's so good, you know. And also you see here already the split. Builds that provide quickness and are healers are lower generally than builds that provide alacrity and heal. Why is that? It's not because of the healers. It's because of the DPS most of the time. Because the quickness DPS are just often higher DPS and superior than the alacrity counterpart. And therefore you would rather have a DPS that has quickness support than having an alacrity support. An alacrity healer is better because you can pair with a quickness herald, for example. A quickness heal scrapper you can't pair with a quickness herald anymore because you then have two quickness healer supporters and no alacrity provider. So that's why those builds are a little bit worse as well if it comes to the overall DPS. So alacrity, quickness Deadeye is just C tier. You can't make a healer out of a Deadeye. To be honest, I should rather put this is a, you could do it, you know, in the sense it's capable of doing it, but it's almost like a no, because if you do it, you are just a troll, you know, at this point. Maybe I should make it like troll, because that's not a build that you would have to in your group, you know. It's just really bad. It's just insanely bad. Heal Spectre. I think they buffed Heal Spectre, but I think it's still worse than Mechanist, for example. The potential that you have is there. I see it. But it's hard to play because you are a little bit single target, which is weird. In Guild Wars 2 we don't have a lot of single target heals. They buffed it, yes, it's more AoE now, but it's still not insane, you know. It's not like you provide the craziest amount of single target heal and also have AoE, so it's not working that well in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's a point as well, that the alacrity heal Spectre is just inferior also in healing, you know. So you have, even if you have a nice single target heal, it might not be enough to out-heal the druid that you might have instead. So I would say it's just, why would you pick it if you have a better healer? A way better healer, you know? If you're fighting a hard fight, then you should rather have a AoE big heal than having a small single target heal. That's why this is not good enough for most part. I would say you can play it in some easy fights where there's not that much damage pressure on you. But I get your point that it's not enough healing. Yeah, for sure. Alacrity, Bladezorn. Heal is just bad. And then we have, I would say, heal, alacrity, Bladezorn is for me in troll tier. It's just whoever plays that's not that good. I mean, you can make it work, don't get me wrong. You have shout heal, you have alacrity on it. But why would you play it, you know? It's just... Why would you play it? I just don't know why someone would do that. And to some extent, actually, the same goes for Berserker. The quickness access here is a bit better, but the possibility to heal with this build is there. But why would you do it? You know, so because the thing is, it doesn't suit the playstyle, you know? I think both of those builds, this might also be trolled to some extent. I never saw that someone played that successfully, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too harsh here, but I think that's not... No one should do that. It's a healing warrior that's, first of all, not fitting to warrior. When it comes to PvE, you know, you can run a staff and a warhorn, yes. I think that makes sense, but the trait lines are not fitting at all. It's not a berserker that heals, no. And a Bladezorn that heals, it doesn't make any sense. The trait lines don't support any of that. So, yeah. Maybe a Spellbreaker would support that in the trait line, but you don't have access to quickness or alacrity, so you can't use it. That's just my take on it. Okay, let's continue with Mirage. Mirage is also troll. Just because the Alacrity Mirage, even the offensive one, is not really good. And if you now want to do a supporter with this, it's just troll. Why would you do that? Because you have another elite spec that is just better, which is Chronomancer. Chronomancer is S tier. Really easy. Chronomancer is like Druid. You have a lot of utility. You can even bring quickness or alacrity. You have a lot of heal. You have amazing boon access, also stability, cleanses. Cleanses are actually better than Druid. And you can bring a lot of CC. You can even make it work that you have 100% stability uptime as a support. It's really good. So there are a lot of options actually. This build is really good. I really enjoy it. I think if you're a new player and are looking for a build that is a healer and you don't want to commit to really, let's say, special builds, this build is for you because you can go quickness, alacrity, you can carry the group with CC, you can carry with stability. It's just immense. So just play this build always and you carry your group. Just in every single PvE content, you can do it. Really good. Healing, quickness, Harbinger is troll as well. I have to be honest. Whoever that comes up with a build like that is trolling. Because you don't have any good support skills. You know, you give quickness, yes, and you have... What else do you have? I mean, I don't know. That's it. I think that's just a troll. That's like Deadeye. It just doesn't work like that. It's not good. I don't have more to say about it. And then we have Scourge. Heal elect Scourge. They nerfed Transfusion. So that's the sad part. Previously, Heal elect Scourge was double S tier. Because you could easily carry your group. You have Barrier, you have Stability, you have Aegis, you have a lot of Condi cleanses. And you had the ability to teleport down players. Now you can't do it. But, and that's the important part, you still have the amazing healing power in that sense. You can easily carry your group with the Mercy Rune to easily revive all the down players and have them almost at 100% of their life when you revive people. And I would say Scourge is still S tier. It may be worse than Druid and Chrono, but it's still S tier. You have a lot of CC, you have a lot of barrier, you have a lot of cleanses. You still have amazing revive power. You have 3 revive skills when it comes to that, you know? You have your healing well, you have your transfusion, which doesn't teleport anymore, but still revives down people. And you have your Signet of Undead, which can also revive one person. It's really good. And of course, hand dresses still work. So I would say S tier still, even after the nerfs. You see how good this build is, you know? Even after such a big nerf, it's still S tier. Okay. Let's continue with some really hot takes. We have Healing Herald and Healing Renegade. So those two are tough because both of them lack the ability to switch the utility skills, you know? Because as a Druid, as a Scourge to some extent, and of course as a Chronomancer, you can swap your utility skills depending on the fight. As a Renegade and as a Herald, you can't do that. You have to switch legends, and your legends don't always make sense. So Dwarf Legend and Ventari makes sense, but then you lose the Glint one, or you want to run the color one in Renegade. So it's really hard because you cannot really easily swap them. So a Healing Renegade build is almost troll in my opinion. It's not good in that sense, but it's better than all the builds in troll. So I would say it's B tier, low B tier. Healing Herald might be one of the best region providers. Yeah, exactly, Winslow. I think it is a meme, but you can make it work. And that's the difference between the troll builds. Because the troll builds, they are meme, and even if you play it perfectly, I think they are not working what they should be doing, you know. Renegade, you can run that, and if you are good enough, the group won't notice that you are actually the healer. You know? But if you are a healer on Deadeye, your group will notice because you will not heal, and therefore you're trolling. That's not the case with Herald. I think this build is actually working. I think it's good. You have high healing output, and you have nice boon access and nice CC. The problem that you have with this build is that you are not flexible. But your healing is really high. You have amazing regen. Your regen is really hard. It's the hardest carrying regen that there is, because it's so high with the multipliers that you have. But as soon as you need versatility, you lack that. You can't swap out easily. That's a problem. But I feel like if you really need a lot of heal and don't care about the just swapping all the time, then can run it. It might not be. I don't know. Maybe it's the same as. I think it's A tier, low A tier, maybe high B tier. Might be a hot take, but yeah, I will leave it at that for now. Now, Firebrand. So heal Firebrand. I have to be honest. Most people that play heal Firebrand are actually bad at the game. In squad content. I'm not talking about Fractals. In Fractals, it's really good. But in squad content, people just play it because they play it in Fractals and think it's in 10-man, it's also good. But in 10-man, the S tier healers are better. So I would put Firebrand in high A tier because it's really good in Fractals and it's decently good in squad play. You have a lot of utility, you have actually a lot of access to your pages and stuff, but I think the access to quickness and the boons in general is a little bit harder because you have those cones in front of you that makes it harder to play, and if your squad is running around like headless chickens, you just don't get the value with this build. All the other builds here are just around you or even away from you with those, and therefore I would say this build is harder to get useful. And I think the healing is actually also quite bad. Nowadays they buffed it a bit, but most people don't know how to use the healing of Firebrand. For example, two things that people don't know is the F2 is really important. You have to spam your pages if you want to get a lot of healing out. And then you have to dodge. And that's really important. Your dodge heals allies, and it heals quite high. So if you don't dodge, you will not heal your allies, and then you lose out on healing, and your allies might die. So that's why this build is actually harder to play, and a lot of people that use it don't know how to use it, and therefore it looks really bad. So I would say it's A tier if you play it well. If you play it bad, it's almost troll tier. You only provide your boons and you don't have a lot of healing. That's definitely the point. So, we had this before. Heal Alacrity Willbender. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. You still have the really amazing access of utility that a Guardian has, so Sanctuary and Stand Your Ground, and you still even can provide a little bit of quickness if you really want to with your Feel My Wrath. But you have forced movement, you have the Alacrity is only working in fight if you have a target, and your heal is not that good. I think it's B tier for me, just because it works, but it is worse than S and A tier. That might be my take. Maybe someone in chat can show me how you would play that in a really hard fight and carry the group. Maybe that's true. Maybe I just haven't seen it yet. But in my opinion, it's not good enough. The utility that you bring is actually not... It's a true build. It makes sense. You can play it. It's real. It works. But, like I said, I think it has too many buts why it's not working in most circumstances. Maybe it's high B tier. Maybe it's almost A tier just because it has a lot of potential. You know, you have so many utility skills that make it work. And the thing is, you're right, it might be a skill issue. But the thing is, and that's important to know, if you need a high amount of skill to make a build work, why not play an easier build and carry your group harder, you know? Because, for example, if you play really well on a druid, I promise you, you get more use out of it as if you would play really well on a willbender. That's just how it works, because the build is just baseline so much stronger. So I would say maybe B tier, maybe an A tier if you really coping, you know? I don't know. Let's leave it at that for now. I don't want to offend the willbender players. Otherwise they will come after me, you know? Okay. Catalyst with the buff to the spheres and that how many boons they apply is actually really unique in the sense that you can 100% upkeep quickness from ranged. This is actually really good. You can upkeep quickness on your party without being next to your party. There is almost no build that can do that. And therefore, its healing with staff is also great, and you have a really unique role. So I would put it in 8 because it has crazy good healing. It has good access to boons. It doesn't have amazing utility skills, but that's good enough. Yeah. And then we have Tempest. Tempest has one of the highest healing potentials that you can have. However, you have some kind of rotation to it to make the alacrity permanent, which is a little bit of a downside because all other builds here don't have a real rotation, except maybe from Willbender, because you need to upkeep the alacrity and have to swap to your attunements to make that work, which limits a little bit the potential of a healing build because a healing build wants to use the healing skills whenever it's necessary and be reactive and don't have to concentrate on a rotation. However, the healing is really good and the boon access and just the general access is really good. So I would put it in A tier as well. Yeah, I think A tier is fitting because it works almost like a mechanist. It's harder to play a little bit, but it has more potential, more healing, and you can also provide stability in H's even. With your shouts, you have a rebound, makes a lot of fights really easy. You can skip mechanics just by rebounding them. Really good. I think that's the tier list for now. Yeah, I think that's what I would, how I would end it. Do you have any comments? Do you think that makes sense? Do you think I coped on something or I missed something completely? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.